Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody's having a good meditation practice.
Good morning, sir.
We'll give one more minute if somebody wants to join from the main room. Okay, so let's do that.
Hi, sir. Nandesh garu.
Hello. Yeah.
Start. You can start. I think record. It's being recorded too.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Namaskaram, everyone. My salutations to Aatma 3G, Grandmaster Prabodh Master, and all my dear friends. Today we have, I think you guys all know, another great speaker, Mani. Welcome, Master. Mani Master is from Vancouver, Canada, works as a lead blockchain developer at a startup company. He was inspired, just like the sessions that we are going through many PMC guests through the PMC channel to transform the life. And he got indulged into group sharing sessions. And by transforming this, I think he even became a vegetarian based on Patriji's probably all the teachings, which most of the speakers recite. He began his spiritual journey, I think it was last year, June, and embarked on a solo 41-day journey of self-discovery through Gudakesha. Mani Master then joined T7 Gudakesha batch and experienced the true meaning of happiness, joy, and peace. He experienced intense energies and bliss during the sessions. And I think Mani Master is eager to share a story, the lessons he has learned along the way. I welcome Mani Master. I think the floor is all yours. Go for it.
Thank you, Master. Thank you so much for the introduction. First, let us all be grateful for our Grandmaster Prabodh Garu for giving us this wonderful event. And thank you to the leadership team, hosting team, and all the leaders for making this event happen, and all the attendees that are here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is my honor and privilege to talk about our topic today, health is wealth, importance of sattvic food and fasting. This is a subject that is close to my heart, and I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to share my knowledge and experience with you today. Let's start with a story. This is a story from Garuda Purana. This happened during Lord Krishna's childhood. On the banks of river Yamuna, young Lord Krishna sat playing his bansuri. The sound of flute was echoing through the forest until a scared little deer appeared before him, seeking refuge. With a gentle touch, Krishna started stroking its head and asked, "Why is it so afraid?" Just then, a hunter appeared, with an arrow aimed to the deer. He requested Krishna to give the deer, as it was his prey, his family's food. But Krishna refused, declaring that no living being had the right to own another being in this universe. The hunter grew angry and insisted that it was his food and demanded that Krishna should return the deer to him. Lord Krishna calmly explained that killing an animal would be a great sin. But the hunter countered, saying that he is not a jnani, he is not knowledgeable about what is said in Vedas or anything like that. He had not been taught. No one's ever said to him that killing is sin. He argued that even kings used to hunt and eat animals, and killing is fine. And he kept arguing and arguing with Krishna, saying that he is actually doing that animal a favor by freeing its soul. This exchange sparked a deeper conversation between Krishna and the hunter. Krishna suddenly realized and thought to himself that this person must have gotten so foolish and so stupid eating all that meat. He no longer can differentiate between the right and wrong. So he decided that he should tell him a story. And he asked the hunter, okay, hold on. Let me tell you a story, and you can decide for yourself whether it's a sin or not. Upon hearing this, hunter reflected to himself, okay, I'll listen to what this Lord has to say. The story will only entertain me. I know that end of this, I would still opt to kill the deer and take my food. Okay, two birds, one stone. Krishna began his story. Once upon a time in the Magadha kingdom, there was severe drought. The lands were drying up, the crops were dying, and both the people and cattle were starving. This caused great concern and anxiety for the king. If the situation persisted, it would lead to chaos and destruction, as people would turn against each other and eventually against the kingdom. He knew that he had to resolve the crisis as soon as possible. He called all of his ministers and advisors to the court and held a meeting. He asked for their suggestions to solve the crisis. And one of the things that he's added to this is he was looking for an economical way. He wanted it to be cheap because he didn't want to stress the treasury. After some contemplation, the ministers and advisors agreed that growing rice and lentils and vegetables would be very time consuming and expensive. However, one of the ministers who really liked hunting stood up and proposed, Your Majesty, we can organize hunting parties, and there are plenty of animals in the forest, and we can provide nutritious food to our people in a cheap manner. And it would be an instant. We don't have to wait so long to grow all these crops. All of the ministers and advisors really thought it was a good idea, except for the chief minister of Magadha. He remained silent. The king asked his chief minister for his opinion. Then the chief minister said, Oh Majesty, I do not know anything about eating meat or non-vegetarian. So give me some time to research and I would give my answer the next morning. The king agreed to this. That night, the chief minister visited the minister that liked hunting, and it was very late in the night. And the advisor who suggested this idea was already thinking something must be wrong. And he asked the chief minister why he was there at such a late hour. The minister replied, King had become really ill that evening, and the medic suggested that King need to eat 2 kilograms of human flesh from a healthy person to heal himself. And he had come to the advisor as he is one of his loyal subjects, and he was the one who proposed the idea earlier that day. And he even brought 1 lakh gold coins as a reward for this act. The advisor was sweating and trembling with fear. And he thought, okay, what would I do with money if I die? He went inside and came back after a few minutes later, telling Chief Minister, please forgive me, but I cannot do this. However, I will give you 1 lakh gold coins and give these 2 lakh gold coins to the person who gives their flesh. Please leave me out of this and don't say anything about this incident to anyone ever again. The minister then replied, you look strong and healthy and you are very loyal to the king. If you do this, I can even make you the chief minister of Magadha and primary advisor to the king. However, that advisor was really shaking at this point. Oh, and he got into point where he snapped, I'll die if I give you 2 kilograms of meat. What will I do with all the titles and wealth if I die? I'm ready to give all my possessions, even the dress that I have. Just leave me alone, leave me out of this. And he started to run. The minister stopped him, and minister agreed and took 1 lakh gold coins from him. And he said, okay, I will ask someone else. Don't have to worry. You don't have to leave your house. Just give me this gold and I will take it. And minister then proceeded to all the people, all the advisors, all the ministers that were present and that were supporting the idea that they should kill the animals and eat their meat. He went to every single person, and every single person said they were willing to give anything and everything that they possess, not the flesh. By the morning, minister had collected crores of gold coins. When the chief minister arrived at court, everyone from the ministers and the advisors were waiting anxiously about king's health. However, no one spoke about what happened the previous night. They all acted clueless. The king, who was unaware of the situation, came and sat down. And he appeared really healthy, and everyone realized that chief minister had lied about the king's condition. Instead of realizing what they have done wrong, they started to complain and mumble among each other, and they were furious. The chief minister appeared before the king with the large sums of gold coins, the crores of gold coins that he had. And the king asked, what's this? Where did you get all this gold from? The minister then replied, these are the coins that I received from your advisors in exchange of 2 kilograms of flesh required to heal you. King was confused. Then he proceeded to explain they were more concerned with their own survival than their king's health, Your Majesty. Do you still think meat is cheap? The king then understood the true value of life and compassion. He used all the gold collected by the minister along with what they had in the treasury to help people grow crops, improve their infrastructure. They invested in irrigation systems, wells, and so on. Then soon, Magadha was once again a thriving and prosperous kingdom. Once Lord Krishna told this story, the hunter was enlightened by its message. He realized true happiness and fulfillment came from giving, not taking. He decided to adopt a more peaceful and non-violent lifestyle and thanked Krishna for a valuable lesson as he left. He felt a deep sense of contentment and peace within himself when he decided to give up this violence. He decided not to kill that deer. So, my dear friends, it is essential to understand that every living being loves itself, loves its life, just as we do ours. As a humans of this planet, as a life on this planet, It is our duty and obligation to preserve the life around us. If you cannot offer life to the creature that you take, what gives you the authority? What gives you the right to take their lives? I say this to any person who asks me, why did you give lifestyle? This is the first thing that I would say. What gives me the right to harm another life on this planet? The Vedas hold a strong belief that harming or killing any living being, including cattle or any small animal for that instance, is considered a sin. This belief is rooted in the principle of treating all living beings with equality and compassion. Yajurveda clearly states that humans should treat every living being in the universe as an equal. According to this principle, humans should treat animals with the same care, the same respect they would want for themselves or their loved ones. We would not harm them. We would not allow anyone to harm them. That should apply to the other life around you as well. This means that is not only wrong, but is also considered sin. In Atharvana Veda, it further emphasizes this belief by promoting a plant-based lifestyle. The ideal food for humans is considered rice, lentils, and green leafy vegetables. They should be considered, and they should be an active part of your diet instead of meat. And Rig Veda mentions the cow to be, even our families say that the upbringing that we have, we consider cow very sacred and a divine creature, deserving of reverence and protection. This belief is rooted in this idea where all life is sacred and should be treated with respect. Let's talk about Bhagavad Gita. Mahatma Gandhi once said, Bhagavad Gita has a unique place in India's spiritual heritage. It is a book with divine message which has been a source of inspiration to me. That was his direct quote. And even now, Bhagavad Gita has inspired tons of people. Even Patriji speaks about Bhagavad Gita and the influence it had on his life. And all the masters, great masters that we listen to on PMC or the guest speakers have read Bhagavad Gita, and it inspired and influenced tons of great people. In Bhagavad Gita, food is described in three categories: sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic foods. In Hindu philosophy, the concept of these three foods, sattvic, tamasic, rajasic foods, is fundamental aspect of holistic health and well-being. We have to know how these foods are affecting us, what happens in our body in a fundamental level when we eat these kinds of foods. The idea is that different foods have different effects on body and mind, and sattvic foods are pure, wholesome, and supportive of physical and mental health. They are considered to be most beneficial for those who, especially seeking to live a spiritual life. They promote peace, happiness, and awareness. Sattvic foods are made up of natural, whole ingredients that are free from additives, preservatives, chemicals that could include fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, dairy products, ghee, butter, milk, etc. And that is sattvic food, which are highly encouraged. And rajasic foods, on the other hand, are stimulating, and overly rich. They are considered to be damaging to the body and mind and can lead to restlessness, anxiety, or overactive mind. Foods that are considered rajasic include spicy, fatty, and processed foods, as well as caffeine, alcohol, or any other stimulants or drugs. They all comes under rajasic foods. What are tamasic foods? Tamasic foods are considered impure and can have negative effect on both physical and mental health. They are believed to lead to dullness, being lethargic, being sleepy, being unmotivated. And it is really important to avoid these foods. These foods include meat, fish, eggs, and any other food that is considered to be non-vegetarian, as well as processed junk foods. Junk foods are tamasic foods. People who commit bad karma, bad sense, or negative thinking, people with negative thinking, people who commit crimes, uh, were are considered mostly influenced by tamasic foods. Now, this talk is about health is wealth, importance of sattvic food and fasting. I believe with the story that we just spoke, health is definitely wealth. But how many of us are really grateful for what we are given? Let's think about this. In our story, the ministers were ready to give everything that they possess, everything that they own, just to preserve their life. Okay, this example, someone comes to you tomorrow, offers you $10 million for your eyes, and you can never get your vision back in this life in exchange for $10 million. Would someone do it? No human being in their right mind would give away their vision for 10 million or 1 billion or 10 billion. People wouldn't do that. If you never have a chance to get it back, we wouldn't do it. Health is wealth, but it is important to really mindfully think about this and be grateful for what we are given. Most people will give anything just to walk. People who are handicapped their whole life, they want to walk more than anything in life. But it's one of the things that we take for granted. So health is wealth, and no amount of money would is important than having the health or the body that we're given, the five senses that we have, or the air that we breathe. Nothing is more important than health. And now coming to sattvic food. Sattvic food and fasting, like the hunter in the story, most people are oblivious to the fact that it is a sin to harm another life, or they don't know what a rajasic food is or a tamasic food is, how it's affecting our body, how it's affecting our mind, and how it's influencing our karma. This is where the wisdom sharing sessions or Sajjana Sangatya comes in. It's important to learn about these concepts and incorporate them in our life so that we can live that message and tell our family to live that message as well, because it will make you a hypocrite if you just spread the message and don't follow it yourself. So let's explore the numerous benefits that come from incorporating sattvic food into our diets. It promotes physical health. Let's start with one of the most obvious benefits of sattvic food, promoting physical health. When we consume sattvic food, we are fueling our bodies with pure, wholesome ingredients that are rich in essential nutrients. This helps support a strong, healthy body free from disease and illness. Think of it this way. Imagine if you are car only ran on high quality premium petrol, it would not perform better, last longer. And if you use premium petrol, it will last much longer. But if you are using a bad fuel or a cheap petrol in your car, it breaks down quickly, or it has to be in the garage or a repair shop 15 days in a month. Would you consider that a good car? The issue here is the type of fuel you give. It works the same way with our bodies as well. What we are putting in the body will decide how better this would run, how longer it would last, and obviously, we do need a healthy or a longer functioning engine, in this case, our body. It's Sattvic food also provides and improves mental clarity and peace of mind. Because by consuming sattvic food, we are avoiding processed and refined ingredients that can cause negative reactions to our body. Uh, I have worked as a consultant and a nutritionist. So I used to work with clients on a daily basis. Let me show you a picture real quick where I have lost over 90 pounds following the message that I'm about to share. I switched my diet from a meat eating lifestyle to vegetarian lifestyle, and I incorporated fasting, and I managed to, okay, you cannot see, that is my fat pic. Let me quickly remove the blur. Not sure if you can see this though.
We can see only one pic. Only one.
I will share one on maybe the next time that I speak, but I should have planned a little bit better. But I managed to lose 90 pounds when I followed the plant-based diet and incorporate fasting. So that's why I said that this topic is really close to my heart. Let's move forward and I will talk about my story in a little bit. It enhances spiritual awareness as well, because I had experience with fasting before starting my sadhana and after starting the sadhana as well. The differences that I've seen, the energy that I would receive when my body has no food in it is on a different level, because I fast more than 24 hours, around 36 hours during Paurnami days. And after coming into Gudakesha, I observed that when I am fasting, the energy would be at least 2 to 3 times more than the days that more than 2 to 3 times the energies that I would usually feel. Initially, I thought it was solely based on the fact that it's Paurnami. So I discounted fasting. But even when it's not Paurnami, even when it's not a new moon or a full moon day, I would still experience that. My energy going significantly up when I meditate during a fasted state. And it enhances spiritual awareness and it supports longevity and overall well-being. And I'm not sure if you follow these bioimpedance scales. When I started following the sattvic diet, this vegetarian lifestyle, and incorporated fasting, the age that would show on these bioimpedance scales was, I went from 39 years to younger. I am 29 years old now, but it was showing at one point that my age is around 28 or 27. I managed to, well, it's not that accurate, but with the reference points that we have, I feel much younger, much lighter once I adopted to this lifestyle. So what are some of the examples of sattvic foods? All fruits and vegetables, apples, bananas, berries, mangoes, papayas, they all, even the vegetables, the leafy vegetables or the carrots, beets, potatoes, sweet potatoes, etc. All the lentils, chickpeas, beans, kidney beans, navy beans, the grains like rice, oats, quinoa, barley, even the dairy products, milk, yogurt, cheese, ghee. I don't have to read the entire list, but the technology that we have today is you can just go to do a Google search of what are the examples of sattvic foods. You will get a whole list. And one of the YouTube channels that I follow is called Sattvic Movement. They have some amazing content if you would like to refer, or if you would like to follow that sattvic diet. And I strongly recommend that you do. Let me talk about the story about how I turned into a vegetarian. It was one day, it was a little over a year ago, and I was watching some of the videos, and I came across this Sadhguru video. Where he was talking about how our human body is uh, is designed to digest plant foods, or the internal digestive system that we have is compatible with is that of a herbivore, not a carnivore. It made sense because most people, um, where I was in that point of my life, it made sense because I was not into spirituality back then. When he explained, gave the scientific reasoning behind the idea, that's when I really started thinking about this for the first time in my life. Because until then, no one ever really told me that it's bad to eat vegetarian. No one said that. And once I started thinking about that, in the next 2 to 3 days, you would not believe it, I had 7 gurus or 7 masters or 7 spiritual leaders, whether it be a video on YouTube or a post on Instagram. I saw a message from Gautam Buddha saying this. I saw a video of Osho explaining about how we should eat a vegetarian, and we watch a video by one of the guru, Advaita Guru. His name is Yallam Raju Srinivas Rao Garu. He was speaking about how it's a great sin to eat non-vegetarian, and I watched Sri Ravi Shankar Garu saying the same thing over and over. Next 2 to 3 days, I've been watching these videos. Either I did not search for it; it's just showing up on my feed, showing up on my phone. And I was talking to my wife, and I said, "Do you think we should stop eating it? I've been getting all these messages, and I don't think it's a coincidence." And my wife said, "Yeah, if you're up for it, let's stop eating meat. Let's become vegetarians." And after that day, I think it was on day 3, I went out and bought 1 kg of chicken, and I was cutting it, and I cut my finger so deep, it hurt like hell. I think it was 1 inch deep. I had to get stitches and all the, uh, what do you call it? The syringe, the shots and everything for it. But that's what made me realize I made the decision that I should stop eating meat. that I really considered that I should stop eating meat. And then I went back on my word and went out and bought a chicken. And this happened. I got, after the cut, I had this really bad fever. I was in bed for 2 days. That's when I really decided that I stopped eating meat. That was the day that I last had meat, and I never touched meat ever since. Once I got into spirituality, and once I started learning what was said in our Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, and all the spiritual leaders were talking about adopting that vegetarian lifestyle and sattvic food and sattvic lifestyle, it made total sense, and it only reinforced my belief. And I am actively promoting to everyone that are close to me. I'm trying to change them and influence them to adopt this lifestyle. That's how I started adopting my vegetarian lifestyle. And the fasting, when we talk about fasting, fasting has been a part of our culture for centuries, yet it is still considered unscientific and illogical. Not now, but just 5 to 6 years ago. The recent research has earned Nobel Prize for discovery of autophagy induced during fasting. Autophagy is a natural process which occurs in our cells and acts as a self-cleaning system. It really clears out all the old and damaged or unnecessary cells or unnecessary parts of the cells. And it's really important in maintaining our health and proper functioning of the cells. Autophagy is a continuous process, because if it does slow down with age, which will lead to accumulation of these old damaged parts in our cells. This can contribute to rapid aging and increase in the risk of diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So we can actually speed up this process of autophagy by fasting. It was scientifically proven that if you fast, let's say 24 hours, your autophagy rate will go 300%. It's 3 times the usual. So whether you're restricting calories or skipping meals, our cells are kept under some kind of stress, which triggers an increase in autophagy. So fasting is a wonderful way to speed up this process and increase even our lifespan. It increases longevity, and it's proven scientifically. We have all the research now. On the other hand, if we are eating all the time, or if we are taking in high processed foods and sugars, this will decrease the efficiency of autophagy, leading to, again, accumulation of old and damaged parts or that damaged cells, which will speed up our aging, and that that diseases what we spoke about earlier, Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. I started fasting in 2020, and I have seen its benefits firsthand. And I always asked myself, why is it our ancient practices are often disregarded until they receive approval or a praise from Western world? This is really biased, and it should change. So it's really important to follow what we were told in Vedas or Bhagavad Gita or ancient scriptures. We should not discount that in any way. And fasting is voluntary abstinence from food. You do not eat anything. You can still take water, and it is considered okay if you take your coffee black without any cream or milk, or if you take lemon juice with salt. My suggestions on or how I got started is I would suggest start start by skipping breakfast if you are able to do so. Like I said, I worked as a personal trainer when I lost all that weight, and I worked with all kinds of clients. And fasting is a wonderful tool, even if it's your goal is weight loss or improving your mental clarity or even your sadhana, taking it to the next level. Fasting would be a great tool. And if you don't have any health concerns, let's say you're diabetic, you have to eat and take a pill, and fasting may not be for you. But for others, if you do not have, if you are not obligated to eat, most of the times during the morning, we are not that hungry. We eat it out of obligation. These days, I do not eat breakfast at all. So I would suggest start from there. And PMC had some excellent resources on fasting on Purnami days, etc. You can refer those as well. Just as I said, Sattvic Movement YouTube channel for those who want to adopt a Sattvic lifestyle. There are tons of resources on fasting as well. I don't really have any particular YouTuber that I follow, but there are a lot of scientists or a lot of people that are actively doing research in these fields. Those interviews, there are people who fasted 41 days or longer as well. Me personally, I fasted 5 days in a row. The most I ever went without eating food was 5.5 days. And the first 3 days, I did not even drink a drop of water. I know that's intense, and I definitely wouldn't recommend that for everyone. But water fasting, 16 hours is 16 to 18 hours is the sweet spot. And you will see a lot of health benefits if you follow that. Fasting had been recognized a valuable practice in many spiritual communities. Religious fasting is in Muslim community. Ramadan is a month-long fast observed every year, and they abstain from food, drink, sunrise to sunset. Similarly, in Hinduism, we have many devotees. We have fasts on certain days of the week as a form of devotion and worship to their deities. For example, my mom and dad would fast on every Saturday because they were following Lord Venkateshwara. Fasting is not just about abstaining from food, but also purifying the mind and body. It's the way of practicing self-discipline and building resilience and promoting spiritual growth. I think once it increases willpower a lot. By abstaining from food and other physical desires, we remain focused on our inner selves and develop a deeper connection with our spiritual essence. That's what I observed on the days I would fast. Things would happen much easier, much quicker. Even whether it's a thoughtlessness or feeling my energies or chakras, it's way easier and faster on the days I would fast. I think that concludes everything that I wanted to speak. Do let me know if you have any other questions. And once again, I would thank you so much for giving this opportunity. I would like to thank our Grandmaster Prabodh Garu for his wonderful wisdom and making this event happen. Gudakesha played a huge role in this as well. When I'm not sure how many of the attendees have already attended Gudakesha, but one of the exercises that we had was food meditation. Wow, I do not have any words to explain that. One of the examples that Grandmaster uses during that exercise is I'm not sure how familiar argue with Mahabharata story. During the story, when Pandavas are doing this Vanavasa, Durvasa Maharshi and all his devotees would come to where Pandavas were staying, and Pandavas had to feed all of them, and they only had one grain of rice, one grain of cooked rice. And when Draupadi was anxious, Krishna would ask that grain, and he would um, eat that. And all these devotees of Durvasa Maharshi, he even himself would burp, and burping is the signal that they were satisfied, there was fulfillment, they enjoyed the food. And Grandmaster gave this story an example and gave us how to do this food meditation practice, where the food that you take will nourish the whole universe, or everything, all the life around you. When I was doing that practice, tears started rolling from my eyes. It was so much powerful. I never thought it something like that would be possible and for humans. And every day that I was doing those practices is a game changer. I had so many moments that I would never thought would be possible for a human life. And I strongly recommend that if you haven't attended Gudakesha, you must. Um, and thank you for joining us today. And thank you for the leadership team and Nandish Garu for introducing me. And once again, huge, huge, huge gratitude to Grandmaster Prabodh Garu for his wisdom. Thank you.
Great. I really enjoyed the session, Manigaro. One personal experience. I'm also a vegetarian, probably not a sattvic, but totally a vegetarian. I don't take any meat. I never had meat in my life. So whenever my friends come up, we meet, we go to some places, they say, hey, you need to start eating meat. Then I said, hey, it is my choice. I don't like to eat meat. It is all vegetarian, but I will start eating meat only when you take me a place in the world where we don't get a vegetarian food. I'd been to different parts of the world, East, Europe, North America. I didn't find a place so far where I couldn't find a vegetarian food. So if somebody is giving some reasons that we don't get anything like this, then it's really a silly reason. But yeah, you can live with vegetarian.
Thank you for sharing that, Master.
Any questions from any of the participants? There is a question from Nitya. Please give your opinion about intermittent fasting.
Absolutely, Master. Intermittent fasting is abstaining from food, and I'm sure you already heard about intermittent fasting. That's what I said. 16-hour fasts, where you would fast for 16 hours and eat for 8 hours. That's how I really got started when I started this practice. But once I did that for 1 week, it got really easier. I just skipped eating breakfast, and I would start eating from 11 a.m. till I would stop eating at 7 p.m. It worked well. I did that for 1 week. After that, I felt really good. And okay, what would happen if I eat in 6-hour window and fasted for 18 hours? I felt really good too. So that's how I kept decreasing my eating windows. And that is what intermittent fasting essentially is. And that is the best place to start if you're new to fasting. And there are more aggressive diets as well, fasting routines as well. Warrior diet, they would call it, which you would eat in a 4-hour window and fast for 20 hours. And there is one meal a day where you would eat only one meal for the whole day, or you would eat in a 1-hour window and fast 23 hours. There are really so many fasting routines. I would suggest you start with intermittent fasting. 16 hours would be the way to go. If you can work your way up, it would be fine. You can always tone it down when you're not feeling that great. Always listen to your body. Always listen to your body. Does anyone else have any questions, Masters?
Any other questions from any other participants? Great. I think we can conclude the session with salutations to Pitamaha Patriji, great Grandmaster Prabodh Master, and today's speaker Mani. Thanks for giving a great wisdom on eating sattvic food and performing fasting can definitely enhance our lifestyle, and our thinking. Thanks a lot for all the participants for listening to the session. Have a good rest of the day.